Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Real Sports Updates here. Back again with another video. So today I'm covering some free agency topics. Went over what the Chargers did, my team. I think another interesting, very interesting acquisition today was the Mitchell Trubisky move to Pittsburgh. I think that's very interesting from the standpoint of there is really a question mark of how this is really going to work out, and what the Steelers expect from Mitchell Trubisky. Now, Trubisky is a guy who I think he's been unfairly criticized for, you know, some of the failures, I guess you can say, that went on in Chicago. And most of the failures really, in my opinion, didn't really have anything to do with him. There was a very conservative approach to the way that he played in Chicago under Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace, the coach and the GM. And I don't think Trubisky was don't think he was in a place to really succeed, or for a team to get the most out of him. I think he really is a guy who he needs the support of the entire franchise. The entire organization needs to support him, and by that, the moves that they make, and it's not just personnel wise, but as far as coaching goes and stuff like that. Like he needs the entire organization to support him, and especially him coming out of college, coming from a not a small college, but a smaller college in the ACC. He really needed everything for him to be as successful as he could. And I think the Bears really failed at that. They did not draft. They didn't draft or really do anything in free agency as far as offense goes to really put the requisite pieces around him in order for him to succeed. Now, the Bears, they still got to the playoffs a couple years with Trubisky, and he still played in playoff games. I think a lot of that had to do with the defense, but offensively they were lacking. The scheme wasn't right, and they didn't have enough players. I think enough difference makers at the skill position in order for him to have as much success as he possibly could have. And Pittsburgh is a different story. They're one of the legacy franchises in the NFL, along with with the Bears. But Pittsburgh is it's a completely different story. I think they're two legacy franchises, but they're on two opposite ends. I think Pittsburgh is they're a franchise that really gets behind, and whether or not, you can say what you want about Ben and how, subpar he has been the past few years, but the one thing that you knew is that the whole franchise was behind him. Everybody was behind him, from Tomlin, Colbert, the GM, all the way up to ownership. Everybody was behind Ben as being the quarterback. And, obviously it didn't, it wasn't a, it didn't turn out the way that they wanted to the past few years. They still got to the playoffs, but, they were not able to win any playoff games, but they got there. And I think, this organization with, you bring in a guy like Mitchell Trubisky, a guy who has really untapped potential. I think, he's not a huge guy, but he's not small either. He doesn't have like a Josh Allen or a Justin Herbert type of arm, but he's okay. He can make some throws, but he's really athletic and he can move. So I think, having that aspect, the athletic quarterback type aspect, I think Pittsburgh can do a lot with it. Obviously they are a team who, they're kind of like the Bears in the sense that they rely heavily on their defense, and their defense does make plays. They attack the quarterback. They haven't really stopped the run as much as they should have, in the past few years, but they're still decent, still like middle of the pack. So I think a quarterback, the quarterback position for the Pittsburgh Steelers doesn't have to be dynamic. They don't need anybody to, throw 40 touchdowns or, throw for 5,000 yards or anything like that. And I think Trubisky is the guy who just be good on third down, stay away from turnovers, and I think that they will have success. And I think that they have, I think they have enough talent. I think they have enough offensive talent to, you know, be in a position to make the playoffs. There's 7 playoff spots now. They don't have to win the division. So I think that they're in a place to compete for a playoff berth with Mitchell Trubisky. And I think the biggest thing for the Steelers and the Steelers fans is they have to temper their expectations. Because you see, I've heard a lot of executives and different reporters, who are reporting on Trubisky, and they're saying similar things that I'm saying now. So they are kind of talking him up a little bit. So I think the Steelers fans have to know who is, under center. Know the guy who's, don't expect him to make any, not want to say any, but don't expect him to make a lot of splash plays or to do things that you see, the premier quarterbacks in the league doing. Don't expect that. Your best bet is to look at Trubisky as a Jimmy G type, a guy who can, make the throws, a guy who can, run the offense, and a guy who can, convert some third downs, and who's gonna, be on the same page as his wide receivers, as his running backs, and be able to get the ball to his weapons, and getting the ball out of his hands as fast as he can. I think that was one of the big things that Ben Roethlisberger struggled with, and that was over his career. He was a guy who held the ball. He held the ball so much. He held the ball for really, really long amounts of time, and he was sacked and turnovers, strip sacks, and all this stuff. If you're Trubisky, get the ball out of your hands. The Steelers got they have some decent talent out there at wide receiver, at running back. Get the ball out of your hands, get the ball into your playmakers' hands, and let them make plays. And I think if they are, going to subscribe to that, kind of mentality and subscribe to that type of, offensive philosophy, I think the Steelers will be fine. But I think people just cannot expect him to come into Pittsburgh and, make a bunch of splash plays and, try to outduel the Lamars and try to outduel Joe Burrow and stuff like that. Because I just don't think that – I don't think Trubisky has the tools to do that. But he's a good quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback. He's a guy, if I would say is a bridge quarterback at this point right now. Now, if he goes out there and he lights it up, and he does throw for 30, 35 touchdowns or whatever, like, don't expect it, but that would really be probably one of the best things that can happen for the Steelers, because they can still go into the draft and they can draft a young quarterback if they really, really like him, or, they can, sign Trubisky long term. They'll have options on their hands, as far as what they want to do with the quarterback position. But right now, I think until he shows that, if he is capable of that, you would hope to see it at some point during the season. But you kind of want to temper him, and you kind of just want to you want him to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and play Jimmy G style of football. Jimmy G got to a Super Bowl. Everybody forgets that. He didn't throw the ball a lot, but he still got to the Super Bowl. Like, he didn't turn the ball over enough to not have them in the Super Bowl, or he didn't do anything stupid to ruin their chances. Just play within yourself. Don't try to do too much. But I think his athleticism really is the key. I think that's really going to let him have a lot of success. The teams in the division, the NFC North, they have not been accustomed to, defensive planning for a quarterback with athleticism. Ben's athleticism left him a long, long time ago. It's been gone. So they haven't really had to game plan and scheme for a quarterback like that. But now this guy offers something different than Ben has for the past, 17 years or whatever. So he can get out there, he can run, he can make plays, he can extend drives with his legs and stuff. So I think that I think it'll work out. But if everybody's expectations are, tempered, and if they don't, allow themselves to think that this guy is just going to, go on some type of crazy run and put up all these crazy numbers and bring the Pittsburgh Steelers back to, the Super Bowl, relevant, the bubble teams, if people stop thinking that, or if they don't think that at all, if he's he's not going to do this by himself, then I think everybody will be fine. And I think the Steelers, their best, probably their best bet this season will probably be a wild card appearance, just like last season was with Ben. You have to account for all of the quarterback talent that's in the AFC now. Your division now is pretty good, so it's going to be a bloodbath. So for them at the end of the season, if they're able to clinch a wild card berth, I would look at that as a extreme success. But everybody should just be relaxed and tempered as far as their expectations go. Let him get in there and get his feet wet a little bit first before you start expecting all these great things from him. But yeah, I think it'll work out well for the Steelers. I think it was a good move, and obviously, it's cheap. It's not going to cost a lot, so and the Steelers will be able to evaluate him as far as what his future is with the team, or if they just want to use him as a bridge and draft somebody else, that's also fine. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the Trubisky move for the Steelers. Great move. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you think about the move. I thought it was great. Some people might not like it, but agree to disagree, right? So yeah, hit the comment section. Hit the comment section. Let me know what you think. That's pretty much all I got, guys. I will be back tomorrow too to cover some more topics. There's gonna be some more signings. So yeah, just hang tight. There will be more content coming up. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.